You can't start the second half on a 15-2 run negative and expect to beat a team that is, getting votes in the top 25. And I think that pretty much sums it up. This has to be a two-half game, and we have noticeably not played a good two-half game in a while. So that's something that I need to have us work on. And it's disappointing because this was a great opportunity when you're playing a team that's this good and has a chance to be ranked. You want to take advantage of playing them at home and playing them early, and I just don't think we took advantage of that. But the upshot to this is that we have 17 more games, so I'm trying to keep these guys really positive and just move forward. I don't think anybody's going to go 18-0 this season. So with that, I'll open it up for questions. Just didn't make plays. I mean, I'll have to look at the tape, but what I saw just watching the game was that we ran some stuff and got some good looks and didn't complete them. And that could be nerves, that could be the moment, it could be the fact that it's the first conference game, it could be anything. It could be psychological, which I'm not actually poo-pooing at all. I think we still are at a point where we have to feel like we can win games like this and not just, suppose we can win games like this.
Beavers got outscored by 20 in the paint. What are you going to do to work on that, change that?
Played better defense. I actually thought in the first half our defense was pretty good. But in that second half, I just thought that we got so caught up in the fact that we couldn't score that we let our defense lapse. And, when they get some of those transition baskets that are layups, those count as point in the paint too. So it was hard to stop the bleeding once it started.
Sorry if you talked about this already, but what happened in those first few minutes of
I don't think it was anything other than we could not make plays. I mean, I thought we had good looks, and they just weren't falling. And I'm not ready to chalk it up to sort of an inability to play. It's just that at this time, we just at that point in time, we didn't make the shots that we needed to make, which we had done in the first half, or had done enough in the first half. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I probably could have gone a little bit deeper, but we only had one game this week, so I didn't think the guys were, that tired when we were playing in the first half. And in the second half, I just thought we made some mistakes. We turned the ball over, and then once they went on a run, we tried to make it up by trying to swing for the fence rather than kind of grinding it out like we normally do. No, we got 5 guys averaging double figures. So, you have 5 guys, and we probably have 5 guys who have scored more than 20 points. I'd have to don't quote me on that, but I could make an educated guess. So we got enough guys who can score. What we need to do is for those guys who can score to be able to score.
Craig, how much of stopping the bleeding is kind of leadership out on the court, and the guy that just kind of corral everything?
Phil, you're right on point there, Phil. We have, since Angus has gone down, have had a void in the leadership department. And, and I try and get across to these guys that I can't be a leader. I can be a leader on the sideline, but not on the court. And I think a lot of that has to do with it. I think we have a group of very nice kids, but we don't have anybody who's going to take somebody and kind of shake them out of the negativity like an Angus would do. So I think you may be onto something. Again, it's a little bit early in the conference for me to try and figure too much off of one game, but we've thought about that as a staff. We've talked about that.
Craig, as you look at this game, that second half, what are some teachable
like every minute of it almost. There'll be a lot to show in the film room, but I think these guys know. I mean, I thought that we didn't get to the foul line enough. I thought that we had wide open looks that we passed up to try and get something different, maybe better, but different. I usually like to say different. We're a kind of a team that when we're open, we shoot the ball, and I thought we passed up some shots today, trying to get better shots. So there's plenty of stuff that we can show these guys. I mean, you play a half like that, I could probably spend a whole day with them in the film room.
How big was the transition game in the second half?
It was really big, John. It was really big. I mean, we talked about Curtis. We talked about this in the pregame. We talked about it all week in preparation. We got to prevent them from getting transition baskets. Transition D was one of our points of emphasis. I thought we did a pretty good job in the first half. In the second half, again, when you're trying to fight back and you take long threes and you don't get offensive rebounds, that almost acts as its own outlet for them.
Do you feel like you guys are still learning to play without Angus? Is there still things you need to do to kind of compensate his loss?
I think so. I think we do, because we played a non-conference schedule where we had a few games where we could play not to our best abilities and still win. That's not going to be the case in the conference, and I think we have to kind of deal with that and learn from that.
When we see guys like Roberta Nelson and Ahmad Starks, they just really seem to carry the burden of this loss, just wear their heart on their sleeves. What do you say to kids like that in the coming days to help them recover and rebuild their confidence?
Yeah, well, there's two things. One, as a sort of experienced backcourt that they are, they should take responsibility for it. That's first and foremost. That's why they're taking responsibility for it. That's part of the whole leadership thing that we're talking about. But secondly, you have to have them understand that this is one of 18 games, and it's going to be a jumbled conference if what I'm seeing on the tapes bears out. So you can't stay in the negative for too long. You got to move on to the next game. We have to get ready for Arizona State, which is a winnable game. I mean, every game we play here at home is going to be winnable. You can't let them sort of get mired in their own despair after one game.
What was your impression of Arslan Kazemi in this type of conference season?
Let me look at his stats here.
With the matchup with him and Joe?
Yeah, 4 or 5. Well, I was surprised they didn't start him, but he had a good game. I saw that kid in high school and liked him then, so I knew. We've watched tape. We knew he was a good player. We just, we needed to keep him off the boards a couple of more times, but we needed to do a whole lot of stuff. So I can't even get that back to him. He's a good player. I'm sure he'll have a fine senior year.
Coach, your backcourt had 1 assist. I know you got some good passes to the front court, but is that a red flag for you?
No, I think that was just kind of the way the game was going. I thought that, we have our guards are our leading scorers, so I think that they keyed on our guys, and when they weren't open to score, they made the pass that might have led to the pass. So, but our assist total, that's low for us. I mean, we usually have more than 8 assists. We're usually in the mid double figures in assists. So, you have to credit their defense.
Beavers opened up Pac-12 play last year with a loss to Washington. I mean, what's the difference between this team right now at this point opening up Pac-12 play and that team last year?
This team is better than last year's team. I mean, this is the best team I've had to start a Pac-12 season with. This is the 5th start. So in 5 years, this is the best team. This team is better in a lot of ways. I mean, before last year, I'll say, we had to do a lot of alchemy to try and win games, trickery, and we had to make up for the huge difference in talent level. I think we have enough talent on this team to be a good team in this conference. And you've heard me say many times, it's the rest of it is going to be up here. You have to be able to be mentally tough enough to know that you're good enough. Anybody else? I don't want to seem like I'm running out, especially when we lose. All right, thanks, gang.